You're tuning in to Past Our Prime, a show powered by Squad Locker.
Here are your hosts, retired Astros minor league star Tip Fairchild and former Patriots All-Pro center Dan Copen.
Hey everybody, episode 17 Past Our Prime coming at you, brought to you, powered by, as always, Squad Locker, your number one choice for custom apparel, uniforms, teams, businesses, schools. We got it all and we got you covered, and we're going to get it to you fast and quick.
On demand, too.
On demand. Open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. It is there for your convenience, and let's face it, everybody wants something convenient nowadays.
You can get a custom item to your house in 2 to 3 days with some of the stuff that we have. And then we're actually going to talk today to Mark Botterill with Augusta Sportswear, who's a great partner of ours. We got a ton of brands over here. So we're going to do this little segment. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, Max. Maybe we should have the listeners name it. The primers can maybe name it for us. But
the primers.
We want to call it like, the gear guys, or like the gear heads, or ask the gear guys, where we're going to bring on some people from Augusta and Badger and Under Armour and Adidas and Zero Restriction, where Dan and I, that's a fun one for us. Yeah.
Especially this time of year.
Oh, yeah, with golf season. So, we're going to talk to some of these brands and hear their stories. And
we're going to talk to the experts.
The experts, yeah. Because we consider ourselves experts, but they're really,
I'm an expert at trying shit on.
Yeah, you are. We are very good at that. That is for sure. So Mark will be on in a little bit, but yeah, like you said, I mean,
we've got a team of the week too coming.
Team of the weeks,
team of the week coming.
Absolutely,
close to my heart.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we'll get to that, and this episode actually might be called "Tips Alive."
I'm alive. I'm alive. I was,
and he's fired up.
I am ready to rip. So last week we sent out the video, me jumping in the water. I was feeling like crap for like 10 days. I'm back at it, non-COVID related. I'm ready to go. I'm full of fire.
We just have to make sure that, like, a disclaimer there, non-COVID.
Non-COVID. I'm ready to go though. I'm back. The office is buzzing. We got people in here. We're gonna have a full house here Thursday. Socially distanced, but space. Full house in here. There's some dinners coming up again. Things are popping back. The world's snapping back, and I think I needed spring. That's what I think I needed. I was getting out of the January, February, just like stuck up here in New England, which I love New England for 6-7 months of the year.
No, it's more than that.
8 months of the year.
The fall, you can play golf and you can be outside in November. December's usually pretty nice. Mm-hmm. You get to mid-January and February is usually just miserable. And the end of winter.
Yes.
I mean, and
the beginning of March. And then last year, I remember I looked at my phone and I had played a couple rounds of golf at the end of February because I had pictures with the kids. Took them out there. This year that wasn't possible, but we went out 65 degrees one day. Mm-hmm. Like, we're coming back. I played Sunday in the rain, Max, rain and wind. And I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time to get out there.
It rained for 3 holes. Let's not put your Superman outfit on right now.
It was cold.
It was cold and windy. I'll give you that. But the rain was only for 3 holes. It held off for you.
I'm not playing great yet, so we got to work on a few things in the old game. We got a couple problems with the swing right now. But
do you ever get sick of it?
After the 4 days, the only day that I get sick of it. So we have a 4-day tournament at our club, and we played 27 holes one day too. So it's a lot of golf. It's a lot of
4 days is a lot.
Corona lights and
because they're
transfusions.
They're slower. Yeah, well, I mean that helps a little bit, and it doesn't help. But those are slower rounns too, and they're long.
They're grinds because there's a lot of money on the line. So like the day after that ends, I'm usually like, I'm not playing this week. No doubt. But usually though, when Friday comes around again, I'm like, let's go. Yeah. Time to go.
No, you need a little break, but I think 3-day, that's the magic number for those member guests.
I love the 3-day.
The 4-day just seems like it's a day too long. Plus, let's be honest, I mean, I like people, most people.
Yeah.
And I'm, 4 days. Even the guy I play with, I'm pretty sure after 3 days, he's probably sick of me.
That happens.
You know what I mean? I'm not even saying, hey, I enjoy playing with him. We have a great time. He's a great buddy of mine. But I'm pretty sure the 4th day, he's probably wishing it's not a 4-day tournament.
Yeah, that happens.
So I'm going to put that on me. I'm the a-hole in that one.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's how it works. But, hey, you know what is going on, though, that we have a lot to talk about right here?
You're fired up.
I'm cranked up about it. NCAA March Madness. Oh. I've watched a ton of games. I will tell you right now, my 7-year-old daughter has watched almost every game with me. She loves basketball right now. We're playing in the street. Like, she's watching all the games. She wants to pick the team on the left all the time, on the bottom of the scoreboard. And I'm like, you can pick either one. And she's like, I like that one. I want the left. One on the left.
Always.
It's funny because that's exactly how I gamble. Like, so I'm like, what are we going to do? I don't change. So if I'm only picking the ones on the right or whatever, I just stick with the right all the way or stick with the left. So it's been fun gambling. I will say that. We're in a pool together.
Yes.
Or it's different than a normal bracket pool, and I absolutely love it. I think it's really cool. We're going to bring one of these guys on as an NCAA insider.
He
said he's doing 12 hours a day right now, though, Paul. So yeah, he's busy.
He's being booked out by CBS apparently right now.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best in the league. He's 5th place, but that's fine. Yeah.
No, I mean, as a kid, you fill out the brackets. You look forward to that. So my father-in-law introduced me to this new pool, and it's I mean, it's not a new concept. I'm sure a lot of people do it, or they have different variations of it. This is just the one that I know and the one that I love, and it's the only one that I've played for or played the last.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I mean, 11 years now.
Oh, you've been doing it this long?
Well, since we were married.
Oh wow! So this is his pool?
This was his pool where I was the alternate, and if one of his buddies backed out, I would be able to.
Now
get
it's
into
like your
his.
pool.
Well, when I moved to the new house, I was like, okay, let's bring something here. So there's 6 guys, right? There used to be 64 teams. Now there's 68. So 6 guys, everybody picks 10 teams. You get a point for a win, right?
Yep.
So every matchup, every game's worth a point. Someone's getting a point.
Yep.
The only difference is if there's a 7-seed or greater, and you can do this if you want to or not. Doesn't matter. We put in a bonus. So if the upset is 7-seed or greater, you get a half a point bonus.
No, I like it because it keeps people picking the teams. Like, you pick a 12 seed, you pick a 14 seed. Like,
you have
you're
to.
Like, this team's good.
And by the way, the best part about, or not the best, I mean, the whole thing is just awesome. But the way the draft is set up, and I have the draft. Someone else.
Dan was supposed to invite me to the draft and then just forgot.
I forgot
he texted me in the morning. He goes, hey, your team, I drafted a team for you. And I said, I was available.
That was nice.
But
you did text back and I forgot. And we were going to do a Zoom and then things got going and just, that was my fault. I apologize. Just like the heater in the car. I forgot to turn that on for you too.
That's true. Yep.
So the whole draft, first 2 rounds are snake and maybe the last 2 rounds are snake, but snake and the middle, 6 rounds then are all spread out. So you could be 6, 4, 2, 1, 3. So at the end of the draft, everybody's value in their position on those rounds is equal.
Yes.
You got it?
Yep.
So it's not snake the whole way through. So everybody's got equal value on their draft positions through the whole way through. I was the 6th pick this year. I took Houston as a 6th pick, and I took Ohio State. And then here comes Oral Roberts as a 15 seed.
That wouldn't hurt. Yeah.
12 o'clock game.
First game of the tournament.
The first one, it was on a Friday. Which, by the way, why did I know this is COVID year and everything's messed up, but the whole schedule's really screwing with me.
It's messed up. But it was funny that was literally like the first game and your number 1 pick was out.
Yeah, basically number 1 because I'm picking 6 and 7 in the first 2 rounds. I was livid.
Yeah.
Livid. Watching Oral Roberts, which normally, yes, you're rooting for that.
Yeah.
That upset.
Yeah, I love those upsets.
15 versus 2 doesn't happen very often, right?
4 times ever.
Ohio State's 2. Maybe Illinois came back and won the Big Ten championship in the tournament, but they're 2 seed. They're playing Oral Roberts. I was so mad. We got a text chain going. I am blowing this thing up like, hey, thanks for the great tournament. I enjoyed being here. The first 4 hours was great. I'm done.
Yep.
Let alone week and a half later, guess who's in the lead?
Yeah, you're there.
This guy.
Yeah, he's in the lead. Max,
you're never out of this tournament. You're never out of this tournament.
No, you're not. Do you do a bracket or anything, Max?
Wasn't invited this year.
Basketball or orange
ball to a bracket
to do the bracket.
Well, this is.
I thought we were going to do a pop bracket.
No, orange ball, basketball, hoop. Do you know what that sport is? Or yeah.
Yeah, so, we've said we were going to do it, but vacation was last week. So.
Yeah, we did, and then we got into this. So this thing's heavy. Like I got to pay attention to this. So
thing. 6 guys. Now we got 2 drafts going. You're in the second draft.
Number 2.
So 6 guys, 10 teams. Everybody's a point. Half a point for the upsets, and a lot of times it does come down to the last game, and you don't even have to be in that last game to have a shot. You might be just rooting against somebody not to get that point because you're a point ahead. You may not even have a team left in
that's right. So you're rooting against people.
You're rooting against or you're rooting for whatever which way you want to look at it.
I'm in second right now in pool 2.
Yes.
And it's going to be tough though because I lost one last night. So, but I mean, I did forget how much I like the NCAA tournament.
Oh man, those kids
because we missed it last year. Yes. Remember, they play hard. This is with no crowds too, and normally that's one of the most exciting things about it. The crowds are going bananas at these things, so it's not like it's that. It doesn't feel that off to me.
No. I think I think over the course of the year, everybody's pretty much gotten used to watching sports how it is right now. But you do forget how good. Even when we had Lehman on here, I was talking with him the other day and with some guys. How unbelievable would that have been? Even more of winning the junior championships with that crowd.
I know that's the tough part about this. The other thing that's weird is how they have them so spread out on the sideline.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it.
They're practicing.
Did we talk about this already? Because I don't understand why they're so spread out on the sideline. They're all tested. They're all in a bubble, and they're all laying all over each other on the court.
Sweat going everywhere.
And then they're like, "Hey, when you get to the sideline, spread out." And then the coaches are the funny thing too with the masks.
Yeah.
None of them are wearing the masks. They're wearing them down over their chin and screaming and it's like.
Especially when bad calls, which bad calls are always coming. Yeah. They're screaming at the officials 2 inches 2 inches away.
Hey, you know a wild thing here?
That makes no sense in the world.
Officials. I did a couple score clocks. For the basketball team at my kids' school. I like doing the score clock. And they're using a buzzer for a whistle.
They're doing it in hockey too.
Instead of the whistle. And then I saw one guy have a mask on with a whistle inside of it. So but I've seen the buzzer on
That's a choking hazard.
Yeah, I've seen the buzzer in the hand. It's confusing. I bet it was tricky for them to start to switch the trigger. From blowing with your mouth. Oh, there's got to be pushing with your thumb.
There's got to be a bunch of inadvertent whistles.
Definitely
at that point. I mean, guess. My kid plays hockey, and the buzzer's going off, and when you're first trying to figure it out, I was like, "What the hell is that?" Yeah, he's holding it in his hand.
Yeah, it was very interesting for that, Max. So there's other things happening. There's the Suez Canal, which I don't. Okay, ready, Max?
Oh boy, here comes the news.
What country is this in?
Max knows.
Are you asking because you know?
Max knows.
I
might not know sports, but I know that the Suez is in Egypt.
This? Okay, good. All right. So I knew that, but I was going to try to stump you. I did not know
He didn't say it, though.
I was thinking the Panama Canal the whole time, and then I knew it was a canal. That's it.
It's the general concept.
But what a mess we're dealing with down there. The boat's free, and the boat's moving again. It's called the Ever Given. I saw some funny memes on that, by the way. We won't go there with some of the ones I saw. But, man, what a mess that caused. And it talks about, the one thing you think of, I think about there's a picture of, this, 10-lane highway in, North Korea, and there's, one truck on it, right? And it's, free trade is important. You have it living in there. This is the global trade economy, exploding here because a boat got stuck for, 5 days, 6 days. So what are we dealing with right now, Dan? It reminds me, by the way, figure out a bigger, can we dig a bigger canal? Because the thing is not that big.
How did it get sideways?
I think a windstorm. I believe what's going on. I think it was a little bit of a windstorm, and the thing couldn't see, and just a little bit, the front end caught, and then once the front end catches, I mean, there's a lot of things that get stuck.
Are you a boater?
Lakes. I'm a lake boater. I mean, so in-laws have a big boat in Rhode Island, but I'm more of I like a nice lake boat.
Well, they seem safer.
Yeah, and you can slam into the dock.
They can all be dangerous. I get that, but being on the ocean seems a little bit more dangerous to me. And you have to have a general knowledge of what's going on.
Oh yeah, I don't have ocean knowledge.
I don't have
of marine craft. Yeah, definitely don't have that. So. I don't understand. I mean, when you look at the satellite images of all the boats that are backed up in the ocean right now, it's wild.
Oh, it's got to be. Wild. I mean, instead of going through something, now you've got to go all the way around, right? Or were they actually backed up waiting?
Or did
they go? No, I understand they're backed up and waiting, but or did they redirect them somewhere else.
So sometimes they got to go around the whole African Horn, right, or Horn of Africa, whatever they call it. They got to go a long way.
It's kind of like the Panama Canal.
Yeah, they got to go all the way around. Yeah,
South America.
I'm telling you, it's messy. Max 100% thinks the guy was asleep.
Yep.
Or the girl, whoever was driving the boat, whoever the captain was of the boat. But.
All right.
Too many redundancies.
Yeah. All right. So
half a mile long boat.
When you're on a plane, right? You have somebody, an air traffic controller. Hey, weather's good. You can take off now. Weather's bad. You can't land now. Why the hell don't they have that for the Suez Canal?
I'm assuming they do.
Okay, but then someone probably made a mistake.
This boat's the size of the Empire State Building.
I get that. That's why you don't want them going through in bad weather.
I get it, but I just think that if they don't go through, then all of a sudden now that boat's late. There's other boats late. Like this is going to make a mess. I was listening to something. This is going to make a mess of ports for like 2 months. Because the schedules are so tight anyway, like nobody's gonna be able to dock. Like this is gonna affect us somehow.
Sure.
There's probably
a lot of that stuff's coming here.
There's some apparel like on a boat somewhere that's supposed to be in here. There's like something that I'm supposed to be purchasing that is stuck at sea right now.
And it's gonna make your job a lot harder in a few weeks.
What job's that?
Sales director.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Head of sales.
Yeah,
what would you prefer?
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's good.
King shit.
Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we have enough stock and inventory and everything's good. But I would assume that there is something that I need to buy that's going to be caught up in that ocean somewhere. Which leads me to my next thing.
The spending spree.
Yeah, I have been going on some spending sprees. Which leads me to my next thing here. One thing that is going under the radar lately, Max, I might go off for a little bit right now. I spent a lot of time like looking at Instagram, looking at TikTok for a little while when I wasn't feeling good. And we're caught up in coronavirus. We're caught up in COVID, right? We're caught up in being at home for a year, right? Kids being at home from school, you name it, all the stuff, right? We're not paying attention to the alien thing going on right now. So there's a lot happening with this, Dan.
I did see something UFOs, in Vegas, right?
UFOs, like the Navy's just coming out like, hey, this is happening all the time. Like, we don't know what these things are. Like, these things move different. There's this different stuff happening. Also, I watched the movie Battleship when I was laying down, and I started getting in this alien mode. I'm like, there's got to be something going on here. The world, the universe is too big. There's too much happening that, like, yeah, I get it. And we're missing out right now because like something's happening. We're not paying attention to it. And this keeps coming up. And it's like the 5th news story. It's like the end of the news at the end of the night. They're like, oh, yeah. And then there was an alien warship over the coast of California, So what's your take on this? Are you an alien believer?
God, we're going deep now.
I want to know.
I actually don't want you to get sick again.
No, I won't be. I won't be. I'm good. Like I'm wondering what you think.
I feel like I'm more suited to talking about sports and making stupid jokes.
I need to understand if you believe in aliens or not.
Just turned into the Joe Rogan podcast.
No, yeah, I'm probably going to contradict myself and say I want to say no.
Yep,
but it's a big world.
See, it's the same thing, Max.
The galaxy doesn't end, right?
That's what I'm talking about, Dan. That's what I'm telling you. I went down a UFO rabbit hole, and I'm thinking that there's got to be something out there. Max, what do you think?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. We could go on for hours.
So this is your thing.
We just landed on Mars, right? There's nothing there, right?
So you think?
We don't think
that's
so.
That's what they tell you.
This is our Mars that's like beside us. There's 10 billion other Marses out there.
I don't disagree.
That's probably a short number too. That's probably a low number. So, all right. So you're going yes.
I'm going yes.
Do you think that we'll see them in our time?
Oh God.
I'm telling you. I
don't. No, I don't. I don't think I'm going to see an alien.
What about ghosts? You believe in ghosts?
I don't believe in ghosts.
Ooh, Max?
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
Alien ghosts?
Ooh, I don't believe in ghosts, but I think that we got aliens. I think we got eyes on us.
What's the best alien movie? Alien?
No, Independence Day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You know what one that really messed my mind up a little bit is Signs.
Ooh,
and it's not even like you see. I think you see the alien maybe one time, but it's the suspense leading up to it, and that one scene where they're in the house and the alien just like sticks his finger underneath the door.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it when he opens up the alien ship in Independence Day and the thing like is there. Like, but I love it when they're in like the gun battles, like, you know, up in the like the F-16 Hornets and stuff. But so aliens and ghosts, we're going down a deep path right now on this. So Dan doesn't believe in ghosts. He's partial on aliens.
I'm partial.
Okay. All right.
I don't think I'm going to see either one of them, so I'm going to clarify that.
I'm convinced we're going to see a real UFO. I'm dead set on it after this last couple weeks.
You need to go lay down.
I need to go lay down. I'm telling you,
you just need to go lay down.
So another story that got sent to me during the last few weeks was because spring training is popping up, and this is like baseball's about to start, which is always a fun time. There was a Chicago Cubs prospect that showed up to spring training, and like they were checking his bags or something. I don't know where he got pinched on this, but he had a full bag full of like meth. And I always one thing that we dealt with all the time was when I was playing was the Cuban defectors. Mm-hmm. That's a real thing. Like people, like when they come play for the sometimes the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
They just like leave the hotel and then stay and then like get signed by like the Yankees.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that was a way for them to actually get out.
Sure.
And then that doesn't happen anymore though because Cuba is not.
They're open now, I think.
We're just going to go with the term open?
I think relations are good.
Okay, we're just going to go with the term open there. Cuba's open for us, and now they don't need to do that. But that was always
relations
a big
good,
deal.
Open, same thing.
That was okay, good. Open and relations.
The border's open.
The border is open. So like they can come in and do it. But this guy came in to spring training with 27 pounds of meth or something like that.
21 pounds of meth and 2 pounds of oxycodone pills in his Cubs duffel bag.
That's a lot of pills. Now, 2 pounds is a lot of pills.
Where I'm going with on this is they showed the bag. And the bag, anybody who's ever played any type of organized baseball has one of these bags, like for any organization. So I have 5 of these. I'm going to give you one just because I want to give you one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
On the end of the bag, it's an old school duffel bag, and at the end of the bag is the team's logo. So, like, I've got a bunch that have the Astros thing on there. I just thought, like, what a way to traffic for this guy. He's got this in his Cubs bag. That thing should be full of catcher's equipment or should be full of, like, gloves and cleats and stuff. And this is how he chose to, you know, bring these into the – is he from the U.S., Max? Or what was the deal?
No, I don't think he's from.
Not sure where he's from here. But, like, this was a big story. This one got swept under the rug, too, though.
He's from Arizona.
This thing popped up for a minute and then was over. So there was a lot of news cycles that like I saw here when I was, you know, recovering from being sick and like reading all these stories and stuff. And like they're all just kind of like going away because of all the COVID stuff. So I'm wondering, we almost need to rewatch the news for
I don't like
the last like 8 or 10 months.
I don't like the news.
No, a news guy?
I'm not a news guy. I look at the headlines and all that stuff and Fox and CNN and just like see
bipartisan,
different opinions. You know, whatever. We're not political, so I don't really care.
Watch both news channels.
But like the night, it's just so depressing.
It is.
And
you can't look. I'm not allowed to have it on in the house with the kids.
They want ratings. They want, you know, those eye-catching stories, and those stories are generally bad. Yeah, I don't want, especially at 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. I don't want to watch something that's depressing.
I watch some shows too that have been depressing lately. I've been like, I don't want to watch this. This is not like I don't like this. I don't like this story on here. I want to watch like Dumb and Dumber.
Well, speaking of meth, I'm still trying to finish Breaking Bad. So, I mean, 26 pounds. I could probably tell you how much that is worth right now.
We know how to like cook that because of
Walter White. I can tell you probably it's not the blue stuff, and it's probably not 99.8% pure.
That's funny. I'm glad that you're finishing that up.
Oh, man. Season 5 is just in full effect right now. And if you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It is awesome.
Well, we know what Dan's finishing. I do need to start a new show. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. We got to get Max's shows. I'm sure he goes down. Well, I'm watching Game of Thrones, so I'm finishing that up. But I'm only a couple seasons in, so I got a long way to go. We've got Mark Botterill coming on. We're going to talk about some apparel. We're going to talk about some, you know, the industry. We're going to do a little industry talk, a little sales industry talk.
We're going to get educated.
By the way, and he's got an accent on him. Like, this is a guy, you have trouble falling asleep. You want him to call you up and do one of those, like, sleep stories. Because he's got the accent on him that'll put you right under. So, Mark's coming up next, and we'll team of the week at the end.
Yep.
Big one for Dan, too.
Oh, it's a good one.
Okay, like we said, we're going to talk to some gear experts because we're Squad Locker. We like to make on-demand custom apparel and ship it direct to home. So we're going to start.
That's our job.
That's right. So we're going to start bringing in some people who are experts on this. We've got the VP of Sales at Augusta Sportswear Brands, Mark Botterill. Mark, you are a master of knowledge for me. You've been super helpful for me. You know everything there is about the youth sports world, the regular sports world. But my favorite thing about you is you have a voice on you that I like to just maybe listen to recorded calls once in a while to put myself to sleep at night because it's so soothing. So
it's kind of weird, though. It's kind of weird. Mark, he didn't mean to bring you into the Zoom like that in the interview, but
yeah, we are recording. We are going now on this, Mark. But you've got a great voice, so that's going to be a question that comes up soon. But we're excited to have you, and we want to talk, to the audience about what you're doing at Augusta and what you've done in your past. So you're actually in our offices,
sure,
but we're being socially distant, and you're in the room behind us, which is, I think, hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
He could be right here, but he's behind us, so it makes sense, though, right? How was your flight in?
To some people, it makes sense, right?
That's right.
Exciting, yeah. It's I can't imagine anything more exciting right now than traveling in a pandemic. I mean, it's just you could go to Vegas and roll some dice, maybe, and that might be something along that line. But into Minneapolis, relatively cold in Minneapolis for sure. Having spent, I live in California, as you know, which was 92 the previous day. So somewhere around about 116 swing in temperature. So that was a ton of fun. And then into Boston, boy, is that airport. There's like literally nobody in the airport, right? Crazy.
It's wild. I mean, and you've been traveling quite a bit.
How much do you travel normally, Mark? Non-COVID?
Non-pandemic, every week, for sure, 3 days a week. Just meet some amazing people. So, travel's not, our industry is full of majestic storytellers, right? And you can't get that in Zoom, but you can get it in certain environments where you just amazing stories get retold. And that for me is the essence of the job in sports, right? You just get these magical people. And it's just an absolute joy to listen to stories. You've had a few yourself, right? So, but it's a fantastic industry to work in because they're just magic people everywhere.
Do you think your job?
The more you travel, the more you meet, and that's the richness of.
Do you think your job will? Do you think the travel will change because of COVID and the Zoom thing? Or I understand what you said before, and you get the stories and you get that personal one-on-one with people, and that's probably a better tactic. But just our company's going to figure out like, hey, we can spend less money with not letting these guys travel, or we're not playing hotels, plane tickets.
Is it the road game or
do you think you guys will go back to normal?
No, definitely digital, right? I mean, that's exactly where the market's going to head, and I think it's a shame, right? Because I think storytelling digitally is completely different than in person. But to answer your question, massive overhead reduction and huge efficiencies, in terms of not traveling. But the market will get impersonal. And the spectacular of youth sports is the connectivity it brings. That's why children play, right? I mean, they talk about fun and skill acquisition; they're critical pieces. But it's the memories that they build, and that's indicative of all parts of all facets of the sports business, right? And to replace that with digital and Zooms and it's going to be tough, right? But that's certainly from a corporate structure that will happen for sure.
I will tell you, Mark, you and I talk to a lot of people on the phone every day. I went years without seeing people's face and doing tons of business with them, right? Like without actually seeing somebody's face sometimes, like being on the phone with them constantly. I haven't done a regular phone call in probably 10 months. Like almost everything has been, hey, jump on this Zoom meeting, jump on this Slack call. So I'm actually seeing people more now than I was before. But you've been a road warrior, kind of out there face to face for a long time. But I'll tell you, like I see people's face now more than I ever have. And, you know, I mean, not all of them I'm pleasantly surprised with, you know. So, but, you know what we're talking about.
I think it's just a hugely efficient process. If you can make it work, right? If you can make it compelling, it's a hugely efficient process. You can talk in depth with some tangible dimension to a dozen people a day, and be able to listen to the challenges that they face, right? And so in a very efficient manner. So that makes a lot of sense. But I think it's hard to understand the underbelly of the challenge. I mean, I think you do this so well with you and Dan for sure, right? Is that you try to understand what's ailing the process, right? What you've got to fix to make you a much more compelling partner. And you can't always get that, you know, out of a Zoom. You can get that out of kicking the tires and walking the hallways and breathing it and feeling it. And you're going to lose that, right? And that's probably, to me, is going to be the downside of, you know, one time everybody said eat white rice, and now you got to eat brown rice, and now brown rice is bad. So I mean, it's like an evolution change, right? One thing's good for 5 minutes and then it's bad. So I think, you know, digital will have some benefit, significant benefit for a period of time. And then there's going to be somebody that stands up and says, the king's not wearing any clothes, meaning, you know, this isn't really working. And so then you're going to adjust and pivot to the other thing, which will be much more personal, right? The American Airlines commercial, I always remember that growing up, was, you know, the guy ends up buying everybody a ticket and said, we lost our biggest account today because we just didn't get to know them. And here's an American Airlines ticket to go out and meet your customers and get one-on-one. That plays in my head every day.
That's strong.
Play the ad. It's a tremendous ad. It had a massive effect on a lot of people.
Max is making a note right now.
Max is making a note. He's ready to press play in the ad.
I got a phone call this morning from one of our oldest customers. He fired us. After 20 years, he fired us. Said he didn't know us anymore. I think I know why. We used to do business with a handshake, face to face. Now it's a phone call and a fax. Get back to you later. With another fax, probably. Well, folks, some things gotta change. That's why we're gonna set out for a little face-to-face chat with every customer we have.
But Ben, that's gotta be over 200 cities.
I don't care. Thanks.
If you're the kind of business that still believes personal service deserves a lot more than lip service, welcome to United.
Larry.
That's the way we've been doing business for over 60 years.
Ben, where are you going?
To visit that old friend who fired us this morning.
United. Come fly the friendly skies.
The one thing that can't go digital, though, when we come out of this COVID thing is got to be the conventions, whether it be, you know,
I was about to ask him that.
It's got to, like, the athletic directors, or whether it's a specific youth sport or a brand where you're getting the products in there. I mean, they're doing the virtual ones now. I just can't foresee that working long term when this thing opens up.
Dan and I are bummed by that too, Mark, because we've been ready to go to a trade show now for a while. And we plan on the football show, you plan on going to the baseball show, you plan on going to the athletic director's show, you know, and having that instead of a virtual beer, having that in-person beer and doing business at at the restaurant, at the bar, on the golf course, like that type of stuff, which is not happening right now. So what's going on in the trade show space? So that you hearing that this thing's going to kick back up again, and like, what are you guys planning for?
I think there's a couple of thoughts, right, to sort of extend our conversation. When you think about where sports has come today, a lot of the hope is in the adaptive play. So to Dan's passion, right, football on 11-on-11 has basically, that decline's almost there today, right? But the hope is in 7-on-7, 8-on-8, right, where the numbers are going up significantly, right? 10, 15, 20% growth. If you look at basketball, the growth in basketball today is 3-on-3. If you go back to football, the overall development certainly being affected by flag, right? And so what I think you miss is that creative energy when you're not at those trade shows. A lot of those adaptive plans have come from people sitting after a couple of years and on a napkin with a pen and adapting different designs about how kids, can perform, creating an artistic environment for them to play, right? And we talked about this, designing that empty swimming pool for skateboarders, right? Giving the kids a chance to redesign it. And when you get people in a room that are like-minded like that, a ton of really great engineering goes on. And that to me, those conventions created that capability. So if we look at soccer, how they designed the 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 development and how playing it out of the back was deduced. It was all designed and energized through creative, juices that people were around the table and knocked it out, right? And I think, to me, other than the socializing, which is super important, I think the understanding the game and getting people together to redesign it, if you don't have those trade shows, you lose a lot of that. Right. And that's the spirit of growth within our sport, is to be able to adapt things to changing needs. And, many sports have stood still and got run over. But, I love the way that football has redesigned its approach. But that didn't happen without people around the table really energizing an evolution of it.
When the people around the table, and obviously, like you said, flag, that 11-on-11 for youth sports, the numbers have definitely dropped.
For safety
that's
reasons.
That's what I'm when you were hearing that and those numbers for flag were going up, was that centered, do you think, around the head issues that the NFL was having at that time?
I mean, I think that played a role. Smarter people than me is going to tell you how effect it had. I'd rather pivot away from that and go to, are we better today by listening to what children want to do, and how they want to play and how they want to perform and how they want to create, right? And make that their sport. I mean, basketball 3-on-3 is all one-on-one play, right? So if you watch, esports, everything in basketball isn't about blocking and tackling or setting picks, right? Or L cuts, right? Or V cuts, right? It's not about those technical things of the game. It's about creating this one-on-one, and football and flag is the exact same thing, right? It's a much more artistic game, and it appeals to children who want to not be overcoached, right? And not want to say, in soccer, there's this sort of assassination effort about a cone, right, in training. So you throw a cone on the grass and you say to the kid, run to the cone and go right? And when you go to the next cone, stop and turn, and then go to that yellow cone over there and go right or left, right? And so this is what I think kids today rebel against. They want the empty skateboard. They want the empty swimming pool with the skateboard. They want to be able to create. They want to be able to play. They want to be able to it's kind of an art, right? And if you sort of match up, why do people do gaming? Yeah, I mean, there's some convenience to gaming for sure, but they're able to express themselves in a very unique way. And by the way, nobody's looking over their shoulder, right?
You've thought about this. You've thought about this, Mark. This is good. Yeah, I think because that's very accurate. I think kids don't want to conform anymore.
Well, I was thinking that
I don't want to. I don't want to run around the cones. I'd rather freestyle it somehow. Yeah, I get it.
Well, I mean, I think also it's just
why would you tell them that?
We talk specifically about those 11-on-11, or you talk about the 5-on-5. When you decrease the numbers, you take the hitting out, or you take the some of the strategy out, or the plays, it just turns into whether maybe you're just in the driveway shooting a basketball with your buddies, or you're in the backyard throwing the football around. So it sort of extends play for kids.
Definitely.
And not everybody wants to play in those leagues, like Mark said, and it makes it easier for everybody else to get involved.
Yep. To your voice now.
I'm going to guess.
Oh, here we go.
I'm going to guess that Dan really wanted to be a wide receiver.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Actually, I was talking with someone today. Is like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to go in the middle of the offensive line, and I wanted to block people all day long. I didn't want to score touchdowns at all.
Yeah, no, I want to get sat on by
wait a minute. You're too big. You can't run fast enough. You're going to go block.
Exactly. Mark, all right, let's go to you now. We'll talk about some youth sports again as we go, but where's this beautiful accent coming from? Give us a little bit of your backstory, because I mean, it's like butter in the headphones in here right now. Like, where are you from? Where's this from? Is this a fake accent too? I've always wondered that. Is this something that you put on or what?
This is what he thinks about in the plane. He works on it.
It's a fake accent. That's true. Yeah. And find a mirror and work at it. First of all, we're having dinner tonight, right? So I can see this is going to be a very creative evening. But English, right? So moved here when I was 19, believe it or not, and American citizen today. Very proud of it.
Congratulations.
And but my early, thank you very much. Yeah, very much, very 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 proud to be an American for sure. But grew up in the UK, and soccer was my thing, right? And came to the US to sort of expand my soccer capabilities, and failed miserably, but found my way, as many people do in the United States, because it's as they say, it's a land of opportunity. The one thing closes, other things open up, and so it's been an amazing country to live in, and I've been blessed by been having the ability to be here, and I've loved every minute of it for sure. Parents live in South Africa, believe it or not, and the southernmost tip. Spend a ton of time with explaining to my dad that why does he live 15,000 miles from me? So big emotional issue for me to get over. Part of that's some humor, but part of it's not. So literally 3 days to go see my parents in the southernmost tip of Africa. But just a lot of lived in the Midwest. When I moved to the US, lived in La Crosse, Wisconsin, called God's country. It's a beautiful place to raise children, and we had 2 girls, so that was an awesome capability. Lived in Milwaukee, wonderful place also in Wisconsin, and then moved to California.
Mark, I lived in Beaver Dam for a little bit.
Did you really?
Yeah. From I was age 3 to 7. We moved from Dubuque, Iowa. I was born in Dubuque. Then we moved to Beaver Dam. There's a town next to it called Horicon that my dad worked for John Deere. See, we got something else in common.
Yeah.
Soccer was the sport of choice for you? Is that what so the soccer was your thing? Is it still your first love? Is it still your passion?
Soccer was what I played and what I believed in for many Europeans and Central Americans and all over the world, it's an obsession, right? And so for sure, I think I just once I understood football and got to understand baseball and really got to understand this sort of mosaic of sport, right? Then I was just a massive proponent of children's growth through sports, right? And it's kind of interesting because, in a recent survey, the second most influential person in a child's life is their coach, right? So after parent. And so huge responsibility that youth sports has in nurturing and developing our youth. Forbes top 500 CEOs, 95% of them played elite sports, either in college or high school. And so sports answers to a lot of things. So where I sort of got over myself a little bit about soccer, how it was the center of my universe, I just more so what sports does to the community. I had this amazing story. After 9/11, I traveled to Washington, D.C. to meet the U.S. Foundation. We're hosting an event. It was really shortly after 9/11. And then Bush's, what was he called? I don't know what his role was, but anyway, he's 6'5" from Michigan, was a baseball player, basically said to everybody, hey, listen, I hate soccer. So we all knew he wasn't going to go into the diplomatic corps after this run with the Bush administration. He said, I'm a baseball guy, I played at Michigan. And he said, but I'm going to tell you something. He said, I go home to Michigan and I see my 2 grandchildren play. I've never seen the community come together in the way that sports does it, and in particular soccer, right? And I was shocked by it, right? Moms and dads, parents, grandchildren, the community comes together in ways that religion and politics can never do. And he said, it's the fabric of our society that's weaved with this sport infusion, and we do it so well. Soccer in particular does it so well. And he said, if we ever lose that tapestry, if we ever lose that fabric connectivity, and we stay in our kitchens and don't come out the door, then we lose this battle. And this was shortly after 9/11, right? And he said, look, whatever you do, whenever you go make sure you thank that volunteer, right? Make sure you thank that volunteer coach. Make sure you thank that person that lined the fields, because there's nothing more important in this country than unifying our communities, particularly on the weekends, as one group, and sports does it better than anybody else. And it just hit me so hard about the role that we play is way beyond winning and losing. It just, what am I telling you two guys? I mean, you two guys have sampled that yourself so very well, but there's just a massive underestimation, I think, in this society of what sports plays in a child's life. And one of the jobs that I'm working on right now is trying to get a movement back to sports, because we for sure are going to lose some folks, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the movements is sports is as essential to diet as vegetables are, right? That you have to, it is an essential part of your ingredients in life, and super, super important. And so I really become just more of a sports agnostic kind of guy, but love what sports does for children.
Yeah, I bet Dan and I could probably name 5 coaches, like even back to like Pee-wees, right? Yeah. Easily. Like, I remember my high school coach and college, all the way through, like definitely super influential people for us. So you're spot on there. And I think we are going to lose some people playing sports. So I'm glad you guys are doing that for sure. Talk to us about Augusta sportswear brands, because we're a big partner here with you guys. I mean, we've got a lot of brands. We love you guys. You're up here a bunch. We do a lot of business with you. You've got other brands other than just Augusta, which we really love. We've got Pacific Headwear, which I think Dan and I probably both own 25 to 35 Pacific Headwear hats.
I'm not even blowing smoke up your ass, Mark. That is the best hat on the market.
There you go. What an endorsement, Mark. And then Russell.
There's no doubt. Russell's
a great brand at Classic. So what's going on at Augusta Sportswear Brands? What have you guys been working on? I mean, this was a tough last probably 10 months, last year, right? But I feel like we're breaking out. So what's going on down in the offices? What do you guys have happening?
Thanks for the endorsement, Dan. I got to capture that in the right marketing phrase.
All right. Yep. Not podcast form. Not that.
I think we're our house of brands, right? And we are a manufacturer of those brands. So and it's a question of getting the right brand on the right base. And I think a super interesting brand is Russell, right? And to me, I'm going to be very provocative here, but to me, the success of Russell is it is a sports brand, and it doesn't carry a political message, right? It doesn't carry, it doesn't point people into viewpoints. It's just a hardworking, great brand that's clean and authentic. Yeah. And I think a lot of folks that, I'm not deriding anybody else, there's brands that wants to send a message to everybody in the country, but, it just keeps it clean and sharp and we're authentic, and, we provide service and quality for the right price. And it's just a very solid brand. I mean, and what's interesting about it was about 15 years ago, we had 100 D1 schools in Russell, primarily because it was a sportsman's brand, right? And so we're making that comeback with Russell. We manufacture almost 80% of that brand, but people really, really love Russell. Now, there's some folks that we disappointed when we didn't have the manufacturing rights to it with service. So it's got a way to heal. But if you look at the kids 12 through 25, and then you look at the coaches 40 through 60, Russell plays an incredible role in that. And we're working on, obviously the other age demographic, but people really appreciate Russell's authenticness, and that's what I love about the Russell brand.
Talk to me about the most exciting thing right now in sports, sublimation and direct-to-home sublimation, because that is massive. We're just going out to market with it, that we can do it kind of direct-to-home, so that's just starting. But it seems like every team now, Dan, I mean, you see it a bunch, but it seems like they're all wearing sublimated on the field. Yep. And I'm probably pretty close to right on that mark. It just seems like it's just growing so fast, and like it's easier to do now. You can do all kinds of crazy designs, not just on the field, but like maybe esports, like you said, or maybe just, anything random. Like people are looking to get crazy with some designs, and you guys do that really well.
Yeah, for sure. We put a place a heavy bet along with you guys on sublimation. I think there have been two massive trends in the business, in our business, right? So I think sublimation, because of its turnkey approach, right? This is just, if you're not familiar with sublimation, this is just a one-step print process. That's a relationship between fabric and paper, right? Transfer paper. And the fusion of the paper to the fabric makes it all one piece. So it guarantees turn times, it guarantees one cost, and that uniform, which probably is most important to folks listening in, can be created in that person's image, right? It's not something that's designed for you to wear. I mean, it's designed for you to live. It's designed for you to feel connected to, because the uniform represents you, and you can now, basically put your name on it. You can put, if it's a palm tree and you're the Predators, Palm Beach Predators, you can feel a connectivity to it, right? And sublimation has been able to bring that. I think the second phase that you've talked about that you do incredibly well is this personalized delivery service. It's along the lines of Amazon for sure. And what this new generation expects is a uniform is put in a box and like a Christmas gift arrives on the doorstep, and it's a very personalized service. Gone are the days when someone's stocking 300 uniforms in their garage, yanking it out the night before a game and tossing it to you as you run onto the field, and it's usually 2 sizes too big. So, that impersonalization of sports is probably not something we've done very well. And it's taken a long time to evolutionize, and you've certainly led the industry in that. But, personalized attention is a critical piece, I think, and it's what people expect today. They certainly don't expect something that's tossed at them 2 minutes before you kick off and it's 3 sizes too big. So these are the two things I think are very integral in the growth of Squad Locker, but also in what the consumer today demands.
I got to tell you, the comfort level on those too. Just on those things. Like, and my son plays hockey, and a couple of years ago they had those big heavy ones embroidered, and then he had one alternate, a third jersey that was sublimated, right. And that was his favorite jersey out of all three. Just fabric. The other ones looked, hey, that's more official and all this stuff, but for how it felt and the price point it was at, that was his favorite jersey. Not even care about the price, obviously, but he wanted to wear that jersey so
You made him buy it with his lawnmower money.
Yeah, with his allowance.
But you're right, Mark. It's red hot right now. It's something that we're doing a ton of. You guys are awesome at it, so it's a good partnership there. We've got a couple questions to wrap up with you here. My favorite one to ask, and we ask everybody this. So you're in big company here. Professional athletes, business owners, all kinds of stuff. What is your favorite Gatorade color that you like to drink?
Gatorade color. That's a great blue. What do they call it? Crushed blue, like a dark blue velvet suit.
You're out of the club. Out of the club. Out of the club, Mark. We go with the originals. We're red, yellow, orange are our primary. So people who answer blue or melon or like a Will Blackman said green melon or something. Oh, I had it. It was disgusting.
You went and tried it afterwards.
So you're out of the club there. Blue isn't even a selection, but that's fine.
Okay. We'll mark him down as blue though.
Boo.
Another big one.
What about Dan having a crushed blue velvet suit though?
I would look good in that, Mark. Come on,
you're like really wide collar.
Hey, match my eyes, buddy.
Pirate shirt.
Beautiful.
Yeah, pirate shirt. Mark, another one. Because you're not, you weren't here, from birth. Like, what are your teams? And you moved around some too, right? So, top football team. Like, who's your top football team? Who's your top baseball team?
Is football above soccer now? Or
probably
soccer
not.
still?
No, it can't be.
Yeah. Hey, I'm just asking. Yeah. He's struggling right now.
Yeah. No, but for sure, I love the fact that football is redesigning and re-engineering its sport, right? And I think that's phenomenal. Whether that's guys that are 43 years of age, a quarterback, and people, want to see, a Rodgers or a Brady, whether it's introduction to sport and making it safe and being scientific about making that sport work, whether it's flags evolution for girls. I adore what football is doing, and Archie Manning, in particular, I know is working really, really hard at redesigning football to meet today's needs. Soccer stood still for me for a while and lacked some engineering and lacked some architecture, but kudos to the guys in football. And I know, Dan, you play a role in that too, but they know a sport that resonates with the kids, and they've redesigned it. And it takes a lot to be able to do that, right? And to move a sport to really re-energize its piece. But on the football side, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your viewpoint, Green Bay Packers is, for lots of different reasons, is where
you lived in Wisconsin.
My passion.
Yeah, you lived in Wisconsin. That makes sense. I was a Packer fan growing up.
Badger.
What about soccer? Who's your soccer team?
That's such a tough guy. The U.S. men's national team at the moment. Ton of controversy around how we are where we are. Mm-hmm. I think just, again, goes back to the U.S. couldn't produce a global player despite billions of dollars of investment. And when we couldn't find a player that Barcelona would want or a top country to want. Now you've got somewhere around about 14, 16 kids playing in Champions League football, which is very cool. The preeminent play. And so you got to love what the men's national team has done. And in the same breath, you can't ignore the success of the women's team that's done extraordinary things. And have led the way for women's sports across all sports and across all countries. So kudos to what they've done. And I know a few of the national team players who made that trip to China and won that first World Cup when, 57 people met him on the tarmac to welcome him home with the World Cup, right? And to the response that they get today is just extraordinary. But in terms of the development of the men's plays, that's probably where I've got the most admiration for. For anybody that's listening, I have a huge fondness for a club called FC Midland. So FC Midland is in a town of about 20,000 people in northwest Denmark.
We have thousands of listeners from there. Mark.
Yeah, from Denmark, yeah. But if you ever want to read something that's fascinating in sports, the owner, I'm gonna poke at Dan here a little bit, but the owner of FC Midland wrote the book Goldmine, which he basically looked at 6 places around the world where the top athletes have come out of a certain sport. So in North Korea, 25 of the top 100 women's best golfers come from one area in North Korea. Every gold medal that's won in steeplechase comes out of a single club in Kenya, so on and so forth, right? You get the picture. Yeah. So he's the guy that is the president of FC Midland, and it's the ultimate Moneyball development. So this FC Midland team just beat Manchester United 2 years ago. It tied Liverpool 1-1, the reigning champions, basically in this little tiny place in the middle of nowhere in Denmark. But here's here's a provocative piece. So the owner of FC Midland is a guy by the name of Benham. And Benham is the global leader in betting. And Benham made a statement about a year ago, maybe a little earlier than that, that for the most part, the most talented people in sport, in this case it was soccer, don't actually coach and aren't actually in the game. They're in the betting community. They know data, they understand trends, they understand the process. And the really, really talented people in sports, the really guys that get it and understand it, are in the betting community. Mm-hmm. They're not in the sport development community. And I had umbrage with that for a little bit until I really delved into it a little bit. But there are some extraordinarily intelligent sports people that don't come to light in our game, but are in the betting business. Can't say if it's good or bad, but super provocative for me to understand that we lose some extraordinary talent to the betting community that knows the business inside out.
So they don't bet like Dan and I, where we just flip a coin or pick one thing or the other. They actually bet with you can bet with intelligence? No kidding.
That's not happening.
I bet with the heart, man, not the head. Bet with the heart, not the head.
Like your daughter. I want the one on the left.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, so thanks for coming on, Mark. We appreciate it. Learn a little bit about Augusta, and we've got some meetings this afternoon, and we have dinner coming up. So we'll record during dinner. We'll see if we get any more stories out of you and hear that sweet voice of yours for the rest of the evening.
Butter,
right? All right. Butter. So we've got a team of the week coming up. Yeah. So stay tuned for that.
Tip, thanks.
Thanks,
you got
Mark.
it. And we'll talk to you. Okay, that was Mark Botterill with Augusta Sportswear.
He's a smart guy.
And I told you that voice. He had some good quotes in there. Boy, he put some analogies together that were like, my brain was like, whoa, that's smart.
He went deep like you. You were deep today.
Yeah,
so
very deep. Yeah, my brain is very deep.
Today.
So, like we said, we're going to do some gear people, in the industry, and talk to them and hear what they're talking about and hear where their backstories are. So Mark was kind of kicking off that point. We do have a team of the week this week.
We do.
You want to take us through it, Dan?
Yeah, we're going to stay close to home,
which we should do. I like
close, that. We're going to stay close to home, and this one's close to the heart. Warwick JR Hockey Association. COVID year. Kids had a tough year. It wasn't a normal hockey season for anybody in the country. The kids in Rhode Island had to stay in Rhode Island. I'm sure everybody else across the country had to stay in that state. So it wasn't normal. And these kids put up with a lot, and they still went out there each and every night, and they played, teams in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And
where normally they would go around a little more,
you go to
right?
Maine, or you go to Mass, or you go to Connecticut. But they were in Rhode Island. They played in Rhode Island. They had the finals on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And the Pee Wee, I believe there's 2 years. So, 2 years in each division. The Pee Wee division for the Warwick JR Hockey Association, the Junior Blues. The second year Pee Wees and the first year Pee Wees both won the South Coast Hockey League Championship.
Title Town.
So
we are in Warwick, by the way. Squad Locker's in Warwick, so this is the local team.
My son plays for the first year.
Well, I was about to say, I got a video from you.
It was a good
nice
weekend.
Overtime goal.
Overtime, sudden death.
Yeah.
The kids played awesome. They were up 3-1. The cool thing was, and we've talked about this before. Or I've talked about it a lot, and we've talked about it, personally, is to see the development of these kids as they go and as they grow with one another, and how much better they get individually and as a team as the year goes on. And this team that my son's team was on, and I'm sure that's true for the other Pee Wee team as well, of how much better they got. And it was fun to see that process, and it was great for those kids to go out there and win the championship. They're up 3-1. They had 3 minutes left. They let 2 goals in, 3-3. They go to sudden death overtime. And my son, I'm very proud of him. Was able
back in the net.
Hey, he was able to put it in the net, and they won the game. But
what number is he out there?
67. Hey, I don't make him. Hey, he chose that. He was
handed 67.
No. Hey, what number do you want? Is it available? And he said 67. He gave options, and it was available. That's his choice. He doesn't have to.
It's a good number.
Yeah. It worked out. Out. So the Pee Wees, we're gonna set them up with some T-shirts, and we're gonna set the coaches with some gear to celebrate their season.
We're gonna build a store for them. They're gonna have it. We're also gonna get them some coupon codes so they can get some championship shirts.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
All right, so that's how we're gonna take care of the Warwick Junior Hockey. What's the mascot?
Junior Blues.
Blues.
Yep. Junior Blues. Warwick JR Hockey Association, and they're the Junior Blues.
Like, subscribe, share, rate, review, post.
Got it all.
Go get it.
We'll
see you next time. See ya.
Past Our Prime is brought to you by Squad Locker. Squad Locker is your one-stop shop for custom team apparel, delivered right to your front door. Learn more by visiting squadlocker.com.